Am I the asshole? For kicking my homeless brother out after he called my wife a gold digger? My brother lost his job and apartment a few months ago, and I let him move in with me and my wife temporarily. Things were fine at first, but he started making snide comments about how my wife only married me for my money. For context, I make a good salary and she's a stay-at-home mom. It escalated last week when he outright called her a gold digger in front of our kids. I told him to pack his stuff and leave. He's now couch surfing and says I'm overreacting because he was just joking. My parents think I'm being too harsh since he has nowhere else to go, but I don't think anyone gets to disrespect my wife in her own home. Aitah for kicking him out. Alt account. Am I the asshole? For just refusing to cook for my wife at this point. About a month ago, I posted here about something that happened over dinner one night. My wife, Jennifer, literally retched at my cooking despite taking the tiniest bite imaginable. After that, I refused to cook for her, which made her very angry. It was this bizarre disconnect between her thinking my food was trash, not fit for a compost bin, but her demanding that I continue making it for her anyway. I was hesitant to update because for some reason beyond my understanding, I received about a dozen hate-filled direct messages after my last post. They were all being sent from users of a parody community of this. I have no idea what I did to make so many people upset, but a lot of people have asked me for an update, so I figured I'd give one. Anyway, the last month has been really eye-opening for me. I had long ago noticed that Jennifer was highly critical of my cooking, but over this time I've come to realize that she's really critical of just about everything that I do. For example, 2 weeks ago I was walking outside with her. I'm pigeon-toed and have been since I was a baby, although it's a lot better now. Jennifer asked why I was walking with my toes slightly pointed in, and when I explained to her that I'm pigeon-toed, she responded in an exasperated tone, "Why don't you just try walking with your feet straight?" Yes, thank you. My literal bone issue was just magically cured by your advice. I never realized that the problem to something I have suffered from for nearly 40 years was staring me right in the face. At least now, if I know I ever get cancer, I can just get rid of it by deciding not to have cancer. You see, I never really noticed how critical she is towards me on virtually everything I do. She's just more forward about my cooking. For example, when she walks into my home office, she always scrunches up her face in this really displeased way. I don't think she likes the interior which I designed, because she wants nothing but white and grey in every room in the house. Whenever I try to do the laundry, she'll hear me open the washing machine door and beeline over to backseat me through the whole process. This is coming from a woman who once ruined a $1,500 suit of mine because she thought bleach would be the perfect stain remover, by the way. When I was explaining an issue I had with my colleague to her, she took my colleague's side despite her being objectively in the wrong from an industry standpoint. My wife was adamant, though. I must have been the one to screw things up. I'm honestly just exhausted. The criticism of my cooking was the worst, yes, but it really just overshadowed everything else she always found fault with me on. I tried to have a conversation with her, and naturally she denied doing anything of the sort, denied ever being rude to me, and even denied retching at my food. She actually tried to gaslight me here. She kept asking me questions like, "When did I do that? Tell me the date." Then she called me a hypocrite for being critical of her, hijacked the conversation, and eventually stonewalled me. I've come to realize that I don't really like my wife anymore. She's just such a negative person. It makes me sad, but in the next few days, I'm going to ask her for a divorce. She's not going to like it, but I've come to realize that when she walks into a room I'm in, I get anxious about what she's going to say to me. Thank you for all your comments. I also apologize if this was long-winded. My marriage is falling apart, and I'm not in the best headspace right now. Edit, thanks for all the advice. I'm getting hate messages from that community again, and I really don't need this as I have to deal with child custody, divorce, assets, and telling my children that mommy and daddy are going to be separating. It's a really stressful time, and they're mocking me in DMs. I'm going to stop checking my inbox on this account, so I won't be reading any more of your comments. Thank you so much for all the support. Am I the asshole? For refusing to give up my first-class seat for my pregnant sister-in-law. A few weeks ago, my husband 35M and I 32F planned a vacation to Europe. We booked everything months in advance, including first-class seats for the 10-hour flight. We don't fly often, but we had saved up for this trip, and since I have chronic back issues, flying economy for that long would have been miserable. Enter my brother 38M and his wife 36F. who is currently 6 months pregnant. They weren't originally supposed to come, but after hearing about our trip, they decided to book last-minute tickets and join us. Cool, no problem, except they could only afford economy seats. Again, not my issue. Fast forward to the day of the flight. As soon as we got to the gate, my SEL started dropping hints about how uncomfortable she was going to be in economy. Then, just before boarding, my brother outright asked if I'd be willing to switch seats with SEL so she could rest and stretch out during the flight. I was honestly shocked and said, "No, we paid for these seats months ago and I need it for my back." CL looked upset and started saying she was going to be so cramped and that it wasn't fair since I wasn't pregnant. My brother then said, "Come on, it's just basic human decency." At this point, my husband stepped in and said, "If she's uncomfortable, you should have booked her a better seat. That's not our problem." We boarded while my brother and SEL glared at us, and they barely spoke to us the entire trip. When we landed, I got a text from my mom saying I was selfish for not giving up my seat and that I should have prioritized family over comfort. She said I should have just sat with my husband in economy since he was already there. He prefers economy because he sleeps easily on flights. I told her if it was that important, she could reimburse me for my ticket queue radio silence. Now my brother and SEL are still annoyed, and my mom is making passive-aggressive comments about how I don't care about family. AITA for keeping the seat I paid for instead of giving it to my pregnant Sil. Am I the asshole? For refusing to step down as a bridesmaid because of my boyfriend's ultimatum. Hello, I'm in a tough situation and need an outside perspective beyond my friends and family, using fake names and a throwaway for privacy. I'll try to keep this short. I 26F have been with my boyfriend, Tommy 27M, for 11 months. He's a really caring guy and has always treated me well. Like any couple, we've had small disagreements, but nothing major until now. For context, my older sister, Kimi 31F, is getting married to her fiancé, Gray 23M, in 3 months. Gray happens to be the cousin of my ex-boyfriend, Levi 26M. Levi and I dated from freshman year of high school through college until I broke up with him 2 years ago. He had developed feelings for his now girlfriend, Tammy 24F, whom he met in college. The breakup was mutual, and there are no hard feelings. We're on good terms. I've known Levi since I was 6, and we were best friends growing up, sharing the same friend group. Because of that, I spent a lot of time at his house, and his family became like a second family to me. Even after our breakup, his parents, 2 older sisters, and extended family continued inviting me to family events. I attended a few, but once Levi told me that Tammy felt uncomfortable with my presence, I started going less out of respect. This was before I started dating Tommy. Kimmy kept going to family events since she was with Gray. That said, I still occasionally see Levi at small parties hosted by my best friend, May 25F. She and her boyfriend, Hunter 26M, are still close with Levi, so he's sometimes there. We don't really interact much at these events. Tommy has met Levi at these gatherings and has even spoken with him a few times. He never mentioned having an issue with it. Now on to the problem. Kimmy and Gray's wedding is a small, intimate event with only close friends and family. I'm a bridesmaid, and Levi is a groomsman, which means we're paired up to walk down the aisle together. I was initially a bit uncomfortable with it, but I love my sister and want to support her, so I put my feelings aside. Levi's girlfriend, Tammy, is invited, and she's totally fine with everything, as the most interaction Levi and I will have is walking together for a few seconds. But Tommy is furious. He now refuses to attend the wedding and has given me an ultimatum. Either I step down as a bridesmaid, attend only as a guest, or not go at all. I of course told him no. This is my sister's wedding and I want to be there for her. It's not my fault her fiancé is related to Levi. Tommy lost it. He shouted at me, called me horrible names, accused me of wanting to cheat on him with Levi, then broke some of my things before storming out. He's now staying at a friend's place and refuses to see or talk to me. I've never seen him this angry before. I have never given him any reason to think I'd cheat on him, and Levi and I don't go out of our way to talk to each other. So I have no idea where this is coming from. After talking to May and my friends about it, word got back to Levi, and he actually offered to step down as a groomsman to avoid drama. I told him not to do that. My family now knows what happened because Levi told Gray, and my parents are furious. Kimmy is disgusted by how Tommy treated me. They don't want him at the wedding no more. I've tried reaching out to Tommy, but his friend texted me he doesn't want to see me. I'm honestly worried about him because this reaction is completely out of character. He's always been a great boyfriend, but this whole situation is making me question things. So, AITA. My friends and family say I'm not, but I need an outsider's perspective. Edit. Thank you everyone for opening my eyes. I'm gonna ditch Tommy and pack his things. I will be contacting his friend he is staying with to fetch most of his things. Again, thank you. Am I the asshole? I feel violated and confused by what my fiancé did to me. WIBTAH if I told my parents. I F20 am engaged to my fiancé M26, and we've been together for 2 years. He's never ever done something like this before, so I guess this is why I'm so scared. I just don't know. He's usually so kind. I feel violated if I'm allowed to say that. It was 2 nights ago and I haven't left my bed since. Basically, we were in his bed in his home and we were going to sleep. For info, my fiancé and I have never slept together before, and we don't do anything like that because I am supposed to be saving myself for marriage. He knows this and supports it and likes that for me, which is also why I feel so confused. He basically started touching me places, and I kind of was like, "What are you doing?" And he said nothing, just touching. I made a joke about how I don't think it's allowed, and he snapped that he doesn't fucking care what's allowed or what's not. I was quiet and kind of let him do it, but I felt weird. After a while he was kissing me and basically asked me to do something for him in that way. I told him no and tried to laugh it off. It was awkward and I felt low-key uncomfortable. He just held me there and told me to do it for him again. I said no again and got up to go to the bathroom because I was shaking. He followed me and said that I couldn't leave the bathroom unless I got down and did it for him. I kept saying no, and I honestly thought he was joking for a minute, but he was serious. He closed the door and blocked it. He said he would wait all night. I said me too, and we just stood there for a while. Eventually, I sat down on the edge of the bathtub, trying to prove how I would seriously wait. He grabbed my shoulder and literally pulled me really hard onto the ground. I hit my knees hard on the tile, but he did not ask if I was okay. I had to do what he wanted, and the entire time I was just so sad and scared and embarrassed and uncomfortable. And it was an uncomfortable and awkward and painful experience all around. He was much nicer the rest of the night and apologized for hurting my knees. He told me not to cry and not to tell anyone because he still wants me to wait until married and they might think we didn't. He said stuff like that stays between couples, which I understand. I went home the next morning and my mom asked me if I was okay. I said yes. I haven't told anyone because I am ashamed. I feel low-key violated, but I also know I wasn't supposed to do anything like that, so I don't want to tell anyone I did. I'm just confused, I think. Would I be awful to tell my mom what he did? Update. Hi everyone. First, I want to say thank you for all the comments. Second, I want to say that I'm still going to get married. I told my mom, and while she was so upset for me, understood my feelings, validated me and talked to me, she also explained a lot of things to me that I'll probably just keep private. It made sense though. I reconciled with my fiancé and he apologized wholeheartedly and profusely. I believe he is sorry, and while we both acknowledge this is still really hurtful to me, he's not going to push me anymore or do anything like that again. So I'm going to be okay. I'm going to get married next week. Thank you again for all comments though. I really am grateful for them. Am I the asshole? For cutting my sister off after she fought with me and called me a homewrecker. We are 3 siblings. I am 24, my sister is 28, and my brother is 33. My relation with my sister has always been strong, but it started deteriorating 7 months ago. My sister was rude and started avoiding me. I was confused because I never did anything to her, but I didn't say anything because I am the youngest and would just ignore her rude remarks. My sister is married and she lives with her husband. My brother is also married and I love with him. And my Sil is 32, and she and I get along really well in our family only. I share a deep bond with her. I help and accompany her, and she thinks of me as her younger brother. A week ago, I accompanied my Sil to shopping, and we stop at a fast food place near our home to eat, because we were starving. But my sister showed up out of nowhere and started questioning us. She kept asking us, what about what we are doing here and how long we have been out together, etc. We told her that we went for shopping and just stopped to eat, but she was acting crazy and said that we all need to discuss about this, and she left. At night, she showed up in our home with our parents, and she started saying that my relation with my Sil is inappropriate, and we should maintain our distance. Especially during when my brother is absent, she has been noticing me for past few months, and I am acting creepy. I got a bit pissed and told her that there's nothing creepy about me. I went with my sil for shopping. And we decided to eat. That's all. My brother and my sil backed me up, and they said they are okay with me and trust me. My sister said that it's inappropriate and I shouldn't be spending so much time with my sil, and I should move out or live with her. I told my sister that she's accusing me of something gross in front of everyone, and I never expected this from her. She said I am a homewrecker and I should keep my distance. So I told her to FK off and told her that I am cutting her out of my life, and I left and I am currently staying with my friend. She has been my friend since high school, but my sil and brother are asking me and send me texts and calls me every day to come back and to not mind my sister. My sil asks me to come back home and we can resolve this situation and clear confusion. But I told her I would rather stay away from everyone than be called creepy or homewrecker or whatever. So Aitah, my brother and my sil are angry at my sister, what she said to me. Should I resolve this situation? Or just stay away from everyone, even from those who cares for me? Sorry if my English was bad. Am I the asshole? For banning my husband from all doctor appointments after he repeatedly messes with me while I'm pregnant. Hi, so I'm currently pregnant, about 6 months along, and my husband has been doing this thing every time we go to a doctor appointment. He'll drive me to the appointment, then when I'm about to get in the car, he drives forward a little, then reverses, then drives forward again. He does this a few times, and it always frustrates me. He thinks it's hilarious and says he's just messing with me. I started to get really frustrated. I'm already dealing with the physical and emotional toll of pregnancy, and this just feels like him poking fun at me when I'm already tired and stressed. I told him it bothers me, but he just brushed it off and said I'm overreacting and that he's just having fun. We had a big fight about it the other day. I tried to explain how it's making me feel, and he got defensive, saying I need to lighten up and that it's just a joke. I told him it wasn't funny anymore and it wasn't something I wanted to deal with during my pregnancy. The final straw was when he did it again before a doctor appointment yesterday, and I was just done. I ended up calling my mom to take me instead and told my husband he was banned from all future appointments. Well, now he's furious. He's demanding to be there for the next appointment because it's the one where we'll find out the baby's gender. He says this is a huge moment and I'm being unfair by not letting him come. I told him I need him to respect my boundaries, and this is one of the ways I'm doing that. But he keeps insisting that it's just a silly little thing, and now he's calling me unreasonable for making a big deal out of it. Am I overreacting here? Am I the asshole? Work-wife confrontation. Edit. There is an update at the bottom from both me and my husband. He read the post and some of the many comments and wanted to add his own input to clear up any confusion. Just to add, there have been no actions on his part other than being friendly to make his new employee feel welcome. So I 35F have been married to my husband 40 meters for 8 YRS. Been together for almost 15. No cheating, no dishonesty. Just trust and love. He's very attractive and successful. He credits me to getting him there, as he jokes he'd be a bum if I wasn't in his life to motivate him. He's very successful in his field. He has an employee 23F that he is mentoring. I occasionally come with our son to do surprise visits and bring brownies. I have not met 23F before, but heard about her. She seemed nice, and I was happy she was learning a lot. So we came by his office after our son's newest accomplishment, as he wanted to see his dad with a plate of brownies. I ran into her and I asked where my husband was. She was like, "Who are you and what do you want with my work, hubby?" In a giggly voice. I simply stated, "Well, I'm here to bring brownies to him and his co-workers, and I am his wife." She looked shocked. He does wear a ring, and a signet ring led me to his office. You can't just walk in. Her demeanor changed, and she was pouting. I brought it up to my husband that I thought, it was weird and I don't like the work. Hubby-wife culture, it's not appropriate. He agreed and has never thought of her as anything but an employee and said he'd have a talk with her. He came home about an hour ago and informed me they fired her due to some inappropriate actions and intentions. I feel bad for the girl as this is a high-powered company and hard to get into. So was I the for mentioning that I was uncomfortable with his employee calling herself his work wife only for her to end up losing her job. TLDR husband's employee met me and introduced herself as his work wife. I expressed my discomfort to my husband about her using that term and it caused her termination. Was I the AITA reason I am against the work hubby-wife title is I was once called a work wife by a coworker because I was nice and attentive to everyone and tried to help out when I could. But I was uncomfortable with it and said no. I'm my husband's wife. I'm just trying to be a good employee and work friend. Please don't confuse the two. I was treated with a lot more respect from then on. Update, so I honestly did not expect this to get so many comments and I cannot keep up with them. I am sorry I am reading them all and taking them to heart. Some nice commenters gave me advice on questions to ask to relieve my own stress. So I asked. After dinner, husband was more willing to. He was still upset about the whole thing. Husband here, so I approached HR with these remarks that my wife told me. They sat us down and we had a meeting with her. She confirmed that she said those remarks and made some more passes, saying she felt safe and secure and thought I'd be the perfect man for her. That my wife op wasn't good enough for me, ECT. HR shut her down. They said these actions and words are not acceptable in this company. They then said there are multiple complaints regarding her behavior, not just from me, the husband, so they decided she was a liability. We do hope she gets whatever professional help she needs if there is some mental or attachment issues she's dealing with so she can live a good life. I am not interested in anyone else. I've only had eyes for my wife, seeing her support me at my lowest and push me to be the best I can. My wife is always welcome to visit at work. Sorry for those, but her brownie recipe is a secret she won't share with me. Am I the asshole? For telling a parent they were in the quiet coach. I was on a London to Edinburgh train, and for the most part it was a peaceful journey. A mother got on at Newcastle with her child around 8 to 10 years, who proceeded to scream as he was crashing his toy cars into each other. It was absolutely piercing through me and my noise-cancelling headphones. I could tell from the reaction of other passengers that they felt the same. I purposely booked the quiet coach because I just want some peace and quiet. The train was not busy, and there were plenty of seats in the 8 other coaches. This is how the conversation went. Me, hi, this is the quiet coach. It would be great if you could keep it down. Mother, he's autistic. Me, okay, I understand, but this is the quiet coach. Mother then proceeded to ignore me and then scroll through her phone. A guy got up and told me to behave and that it's a child. My response was, I understand, but it doesn't make a difference if it's an adult or a child. This is the quiet coach. Eventually, I moved to another coach because it was actually soul-destroying, listening to the child whilst the mother sat and played games in her phone. Another few people followed not long after. Am I the asshole? Appreciate the mother claims her child has autism, but I fail to see how that's an excuse to inconvenience the whole quiet coach. I would be more understanding if the train was packed, but it really wasn't, so she could have easily moved elsewhere. Am I the asshole? For deciding to postpone the wedding over a comment my fiancé made about my scar. I female have a visible scar on the side of my neck. It's been there for over 6 years and no one has ever commented on it or made any negative remarks about it. However, my fiancé would make comments about my scar and make it seem as flirting, like for instance, complaining he has kissed every part of my body except my neck because of the scar and how the scar looked like a kid messed up such a great art referring to my look, etc., etc. I told him I didn't appreciate it even if he was using the scar to be flirty with me, but he insisted he loves me anyway. Our wedding is approaching and I've been busy with the wedding planning, and days ago, my fiancé and I and in-laws were talking about the wedding and was talking about how we're going to finally be married. He laughed and said, I'm marrying you minus the scar. I was stunned when he said that, especially in front of his family. I was upset. I got up and walked out of the room. We had a big fight and he kept saying I was being a drama queen and that he said nothing wrong. He doubled down when I said I'd consider postponing the wedding because of his comment, and he called me crazy. His mom said that I'm obviously traumatized by my scar to let it ruin my marriage with her son and suggested therapy. She told me that the scar was the issue, not her son, who loves as I am and chose me to be his wife. IDK, I really feel horrible right now. I don't know if I said the right thing about postponing the wedding and whether I'm overreacting in this situation. My girlfriends have previously said that my fiancé shouldn't even be bringing up the scar like that. Am I the asshole? For refusing to fix my relationship with my adult sister because of her mental health issues. My 36F younger sister 30F has always had a difficult time. She has a history of drug abuse, attention-seeking behaviors, theft, and lying. For as long as I can remember, she's constantly played the victim, blaming everyone else for the problems in her life. She calls herself the black sheep. and often says that no one truly understands her. Her actions, however, have caused a lot of strain on our family over the years. A few months ago, my husband 38M made a huge mistake. After weeks of my sister constantly bragging about her OnlyFans account, he jokingly asked her for her account details. I truly believe he said it to make her uncomfortable and wasn't actually trying to see anything inappropriate. Regardless, my sister was upset and complained to our mother 63F. Both my mother and I gave my husband a massive telling off. He went and apologized to my sister, and things seemed to cool off for a while. Now, after a recent whole family holiday, my parents, siblings and kids' cousins, my sister is claiming that my husband made another comment she felt was objectifying her. My husband denies it, and I believe him because there was never a situation where they were alone. He didn't have an opportunity to make any inappropriate comments, especially with other people around. He's not perfect, but he does own up to when he says or does dumb things, and he swears he didn't do anything inappropriate this time. This has turned into a huge family argument. I've said if we have to pick sides, I pick my husband and will go no contact with my sister. My mother wants us to all get along and play happy families, especially since my sister has recently shown interest in getting help for her mental health issues. She's been undiagnosed for years, and my mom believes we should be more forgiving because my sister is finally willing to seek help. Here's where I might be the asshole. I told my mother that my sister's untreated mental health issues are not my problem to deal with, and I've done it and allowed it for too long. I shouldn't have to keep dealing with the fallout of my sister's behavior, especially when she refuses to take responsibility for any of it. I told my mom I understand she wants us to all be a happy family, but I'm not going to keep trying to fix the issues caused by my sister's need for attention and her tendency to lie to get it. I'm happy to put on a fake face for major holidays, but outside of that, I'm done. So Aitah for refusing to get along with my sister and for saying her mental health issues are not my responsibility. Am I the asshole? For asking my roommate's wife to wear bottoms around the house. My SO and I have been putting up our bill while he's trying to move back. He's employed and is paying token room and board while him and his wife attempt to sell their house. It's been 6 months so far. My BL spouse Tina is late 30s, a larger girl and some health issues. She's visited before and ruined decorative pillows due to having accidents on them as she likes to sit on our black decorative cushions. She's now been spending half of every month and shouldn't be in my home as a guest. She doesn't wear underwear under her nightgown and will stay in her nightgown the majority of the day. I've had it. I watched her ruin another decorative pillow by sitting on it and leaving vaginal discharge and urine on it. I gave her a day to clean it, and she pretended it didn't happen. I ended up throwing out the pillow in disgust and bleaching the seating mat underneath it. She then wore the same pee-stained nightgown the next day, and I watched her as she lifted it up to sit down bare butt on my furniture. So we've spoken to her husband in hopes that he can tell her to wear underpants nicely. I'm also considering getting her a box of incontinence pads and leaving it in the bathroom she uses. AITA in this. It's disgusting, right? Editing for answers. Yep, real. I'm ordered and don't react appropriately. I didn't know if I was overreacting or underreacting. These words help. Thank you all. It's my SO's brother, and up until he moved in, his wife and I hadn't spent more than a couple hours together, a day at most. I have a chronic illness myself, so have tried to be tolerant and understanding and forgiving. Incontinence is a shameful topic. Size plays into severity of incontinence issues. I do have a pic of the last cushion she sat on. My home's theme is earthy colors: blacks, browns, reds, and whites. Yes, I have black cushions, decorative pillows. The roommate is employed locally. Their house is several hours' drive away. He's supposed to be going home on weekends, but due to mountain passes, winter weather and illness, hasn't been home in over a month. It's not the first conflict the wife and I have had. Update the next morning. Bill spoke to his wife. She now has incontinence pads and is wearing pants in the common areas and will be leaving today. Thanks everyone for all the responses. I thought I was being crazy for being so upset about this. She hasn't left yet, but soon I'll breathe a sigh of relief.